Bants and Bants. Bants and Bants.
All systems go.
Bants and Bants.
Defiance.
Bants and Bants.
This rebel has a cause.
Bants and Bants.
We begin as wanderers, and we are wanderers still.
All right, you told me you were ready, and you're just not here.
No, I'm absolutely here. When are you going to start the music?
Oh, we've just started.
Oh, well, I can't
We're
hear
going.
the music.
Oh, see,
well,
okay, one of us is having audio problems.
I'm absolutely here.
It's not me.
Oh,
And now it's just feeding back. It's a lovely
was...
feedback loop we have going on there. Fantastic.
Well, I will go through and I'll say, welcome. You have to tell me when the music starts. Welcome to the 30th live edition of Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. As always, I'm your dedicated and humble host, John Wilder, coming to you from an undisclosed location hidden deep beneath the surface of the earth. With us I guess Mark's not here.
Mark is not here.
So it's no adult supervision again.
I know, right? Crazy, isn't it?
And I don't want him to hear that and think that he's not missed, because he is missed, because the adult supervision does indeed add a lot. And the missus.
That's me. Here. I've already talked, yeah. Because one of us was ready and one of us was not.
Oh, well, I can't.
Okay, you really have got to stop doing that, whatever it is that you're doing.
The clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the guards.
All right. Fortunately, since Mark's not here, we didn't have much going on this week, so it was kind of a boring week.
Well, I think right out of the gate, though, we have to address the elephant in the room, the big Supreme Court case thing this week.
Are you sure? I think Star Wars Day is a bigger thing. I mean, it's May the 4th be with you.
Yes, it is.
So
the Jedi in me says, May the 4th be with you, and the Lutheran in me says, and also with you.
And also with you. Also with you, my son. So looking at that, yes, let's talk about that big Supreme Court decision.
Yes, U.S. versus Vallejo Madero. The one where the Constitution does not require Congress to make supplemental security income benefits available to residents of Puerto Rico. This has just been all over the internet this week.
And I know AOC was really upset about it, so she said they won't comply with that. And I think it is stunning and brave, the number of people who have come out to support supplemental security income for residents of Puerto Rico.
That was the sound.
Yes, that was
as
the
of
sound.
Yesterday.
There was much gnashing of wailing of teeth and all of those fun things. So how about we go to the actual draft opinion filtered out of the Supreme Court that indicates the court may be on the verge, or I think the French pronunciation of it is verge. Of no, because I pronounced all the letters, and there's no way that's a French way to work it. Or overturning Roe versus Wade. President,
I don't know that there's anyone who hasn't weighed in on this, but we'll start.
Yes, President Biden. Mm-hmm. Or not President Biden, Resident Biden.
Okay, let's hear from him.
If this decision holds, it's really quite a radical decision. And again, the underlying premise, and again, I've not had a chance to thoroughly go into the report, the decision. But it basically says all the decisions related to your private life, who you marry, whether or not you decide to conceive a child or not, whether or not you can have an abortion, a range of other decisions, whether or not how you raise your child. What does this do? And does this mean that in Florida they can decide they're going to pass a law saying that same-sex marriage is not permissible? It's against the law in Florida? And so there's it's a fundamental shift in American jurisprudence.
He went to law school, didn't he?
Well, it's not like he did any of his own work.
And he finished
I mean,
last in his class. And I think from that statement, we can see that the reason why.
and remember, he's also whose dad? Whose dad? Hunter Biden's
Yeah.
dad. Hunter is a lawyer. Come on.
Is Hunter a lawyer too?
Yeah, I think
Is he
so.
really?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, you need to look that up. This I have to know.
Oh,
Yeah, but none of that stuff was anywhere in the decision that came down. Now, I haven't read the whole 100-page thing because that would require a lot of reading that I just don't have time to do at this point in my life. But I have listened to very smart people who have read it, and none of that stuff is in there. Where the hell is he getting that?
Robert Hunter Biden is an American attorney who is the
Oh
second
my
son
God.
of U.S. resident Joseph Robinette Biden and his wife Nelia Hunter Biden.
Mm.
Yes, and again the Wikipedia article because it's
Is
written
it
by
possible?
leftists, right?
Is it possible to give lawyers a worse name than they have now?
Okay, no, listen to this. So this is the Wikipedia article, right? Biden is also a hedge fund, venture capital, and private equity fund investor who formerly worked as a lobbyist, banker, public administration official, and registered lobbyist firm attorney. It makes him sound like he's respectable rather than that crackhead. I mean, Biden was discharged from the U.S. Naval Reserve shortly
Well,
after
he
his
has had some
commission.
very impressive jobs. I mean, he wasn't qualified for any of them, but he's had them.
Oh no, he's been qualified for many of the jobs that were given him.
Right.
You know,
What's that
that he
line?
paid.
What's that William Hurt line from Broadcast News? I'm not good at the thing I'm successful at.
I have never seen broadcast news. So
It's been a
you know
long
what?
time. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
And William Hurt's dead, so he can roll
Right.
around in his grave on that one. So, you know, and I look at it, and there are no. I mean, you're trying to find good, funny abortion humor. That's kind of rough. And then I came back to Hunter Biden, and all I think about is missed opportunities.
Yeah.
If only he had been around before Roe versus Wade. Okay, but what our public wants to know is what the esteemed and distinguished and certainly never histrionic and partisan Senator Chuck Schumer of New York have to say.
I know you're all waiting for this, so here he is.
Several of these conservative justices, who are in no way accountable to the American people, have lied to the U.S. Senate, ripped up the Constitution, and defiled both precedent and the Supreme Court's reputation, all at the expense of tens of millions of women who could soon be stripped of their bodily autonomy.
So
Yep.
bodily autonomy means ability to kill babies.
Apparently. Because I didn't hear a lot of talk about pro bodily autonomy about 8 months ago.
And here's the stunning thing I'm hearing. You know, I was unaware that Joseph Robinette Biden and Chuck Schumer were biologists, because here they're talking about women. I haven't heard them talking about
who would know what a woman
birthing
is.
people. Who knew that all it took to make transsexuals go away was an abortion decision?
You know who might know what a woman is?
Could it be
our vice president?
You mean Giggles?
Yes.
Her name should really be Chuckles. But anyway.
I
All
had
right.
something for that. Actually, she did chime in on this, and she was actually speaking to a gala hosted by abortion rights group called Emily's List. And here our vice president chimes in.
Those Republican leaders who are trying to weaponize the use of the law against women, will we say, how dare they? How dare they tell a woman what she can do and cannot do with her own body? How dare they? How dare they try to stop her from determining her own future? How dare they try to deny women their rights and their freedoms?
That's the most lucid I've heard the vice president in quite some time.
It sounds like she's Well, she just repurposed a Greta Thunberg speak. So there,
I know,
she's
right?
she's a spracker like Greta
See, this
Thunberg.
is why I need 2
A real
monitors.
soundboard. Yeah,
Well, I
two.
do have a real soundboard. I just have
How dare you!
yeah.
Yeah, and so we come back to abortion. Okay, so those are the only cuts that we have to do with abortion. So we can just linger here on this one for a while. Number one, this has been one of my most pleasurable 3 or 4 days, pretty much ever. Okay, so here's what kind of an evil person I am. You remember when you and I were watching Game of Thrones, and the last season just got worse and worse and stupider and stupider.
Because Daenerys kept getting worse and worse and more
Yeah,
evil
yeah.
and more evil. Yeah.
Well, but that was part of the plan, but they just pulled it off so poorly, and then impossible events started happening.
And the last episode, wait, they put Bran in charge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll end well.
Yeah. So one of the things I started loving was the online crying about it. And as I started watching people cry and whine about a show, I started thinking, you know what? I hope it gets even worse, because I'm enjoying them crying more than I'm enjoying the show. If the show was really good, I'd enjoy it a lot less than hearing these people cry and whine about it. And this whole abortion thing is just it's amazing to me, and it brings out, and this is an actual real philosophical point. One of the things about the rank and file leftists, not the leaders of the leftists, but the rank and file leftists, is they love to be victims, actual victims. When there's a protest, they lay down in the street and they're hoping that Ford or Raptor runs right over the top of them, right? They want that to happen.
And sometimes it does.
Yeah.
It did several times during the BLM.
Yeah. And they love that because they get a chance to be martyrs. They love dressing up as the red and white character from The Handmaid's Tale, which is just one of the stupidest shows ever. I mean, we're so far away from The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay, one of us has bought books written by Margaret Atwood, and it ain't me.
Yes, and I left some wonderful reviews that.
I know. She put money in her pocket, man.
Yeah, I know. And Quizzer does note we need to create a stupidity scale with the base unit of measurement as the Kamala.
I like that.
Well, I think that's what we're getting with the Brain Jackass of the week. We just get, it's just normally the Kamala.
It really is.
So there's abortion. Again, it's hard to get a lot of abortion humor out of it, but it's wonderful watching the pain of those who really haven't lost anything yet. They can still kill babies. They just have to go to another state, maybe. They can still kill all the babies.
Might just have to do it earlier. It is kind of the one thing watching it all burn down. If it's going to happen, you might as well get some fun and enjoyment out of it.
Massive cannibalism.
Yes, and that too.
Yes. But again, I've got to stand. I've got to stand firmly with that gentleman from Scrubs. My opinion on abortion is complicated. I'm all for killing children, but I can't stand giving women rights.
Right. Zach Braff.
Yep. All righty.
All right. Yeah. And Quizzer also notes, which is a point that I thought you were going to make it, and I've got to share with the audience. Last night, the missus became uncorked about this subject. It was astonishing. It was. What do you think about it? A half an hour diatribe? That's possible.
Yes.
It wasn't so much this; it was people's reaction to it. I mean,
well, but
it seems as though no other right that we have matters except for this one. From abortion, all other rights flow.
Yes. Well, and so Yes. I'm not going to do that because that was no. Okay. Quizzer notes the whole abortion thing wouldn't be such a big deal if people didn't get spontaneously pregnant in 2022. As I recall, there was only one time that whole spontaneous pregnancy happened.
If only there were some way to plan against that not happening.
Yes, and in
I
fact,
guess it's something that will never happen.
And in fact, here's where I was going with that. So there's an entire group trying to get women to delete all their dating hookup sex apps and to not have sex with men that they don't know very well and that they wouldn't want to have a child with. And from that, I have a simple response. Your terms are accepted. Yes. What do you think we've been telling you? You've got the message. You can be taught. You think that's punishment? That's our goal. All right. Well, let's move on to something lighter than abortion.
Well, before we move on to that, we have one more thing abortion-wise, and it's this week's bit, which is the horrors of the abortion industry, as told to us by an insider. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
I used to work in an abortion clinic, and these are some of the stories I saw that made me pro-choice. A 23-year-old woman came in 11 months into her pregnancy and said, "I don't want this stupid baby anymore, kill it." And the doctor said, "Okay," and he put jumper cables up her baby hole and connected them to a car battery and let it run for 6 days straight. Then a little 6-year-old girl came in and said, "I want an abortion, but I'm not pregnant," and the doctor said, "We'll fix that." And he stole a baby and cut the girl open and put the baby inside her and sewed her shut. And when the girl woke up, said, "Congratulations, it's a healthy 6-year-old boy." And the girl said, "Can I keep him?" And the doctor said no, and then backed over in the parking lot with his brand new Ford Raptor. They made me sign an agreement to stop drinking from the medical waste container, but I signed someone else's name. One of the doctors there developed a futuristic ray gun that could make anything he shot have an abortion, even trees, cars, and barns. The doctor's assistant invented this thing she called the silly slide that connected the woman's baby hole to a paper shredder so the baby could briefly enjoy the high life. The oldest child we aborted was in his late 70s and didn't even know he was a baby until his wife brought in pictures. The doctors put all sorts of things in a woman's uterus, including a clown nose, bicycle handlebars, a calendar, and an entire Sears retail outlet before the bankruptcy. During every successful abortion, the doctor would shout, "Take that, baby," and he'd push a red button that made sirens go off and confetti fall from the ceiling, and we'd all get Del Taco for free. I have more stories I could tell, but I'm watching a movie with James Spader right now, and it requires all my attention because he might be Jack the Ripper.
That stupidity just makes me laugh every time.
How many cuts did it take you to get that?
No, you know what? I did that almost all in one cut. It was very easy to do.
Oh.
I had to pause. I had to take out the pauses between the stories, but it came out very smoothly. It was it was a piece of cake to do.
James
Spader, he might be Jack the Ripper.
Quizzer requests that clip out as a solo file. So
okay, can do.
Quizzer, we'll do that just for you. And I will note, I would love to claim complete authorship of that, but that one is from a place that's a number with. There's also a
with the part of the word channel.
No, there's an actor, Jackie Blank from China, Jackie Blank. So the number,
not the
Jackie
number 3,
Blank.
Not the number 5, but
yes. So anyway,
some anonymous genius.
Yes. Let's put it this way: they're posting a lot of salt on that particular location. So, Quizzer, for you, we'll get that out as a file. And in fact, if you want, email me and we can send you a high quality MP4 of that one. Oh, James Spader. I actually used that in my post today.
It's just a brilliant piece of work. Bravo.
Oh,
Bravo,
it is.
Anonymous
It is.
person. Yeah.
Yes. No, not anonymous person.
Anon. Yep.
All right. Okay, so we have.
Hey, there's still a war going on. Did you realize that?
Well, it's not our. Oh, wait, or is it our war?
I bet this Supreme Court decision actually is part of the cause of this war.
Well, it allows us to reprogram, right?
Yeah. Well, and this was going to be the lead story until, all this stuff happened. The last 36 hours now.
Yes.
Yeah. Which
Oh,
brings us
wait.
to, and I have to give you a
Oh,
trigger
wait, wait,
warning.
wait, wait.
I have to give you a trigger warning because a picture of the Speaker of the House is getting ready to be on the screen.
Well,
So,
but before you go there, Codex does note that there are certain. Oh, wait. How do we say that? There's certain things that are for horses that you shouldn't take for certain diseases, but then there are other things for horses that for like horse ulcers that some people are recommending for other conditions.
well, I guess if you can swap your gender, you can be a horse too. Why not?
Of course.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Carry on.
Oh wait, that's the wrong thing. That's not the picture.
Okay. So I will set this up. Speaker of the House,
Go ahead.
Nancy Pelosi, who is from California, believe it or not. Can you imagine she's from California?
She's
Made
also a Democrat.
Make a secret visit to Kiev over the weekend to express the U.S. continued support for the Ukrainian war effort.
And again, I don't know where she and Biden were when they made these audio clips that they're in, but the audio quality is terrible, and I apologize for that. It was in the original. Here she is. Roll it, San Fran Nan.
We believe that we are visiting you to say thank you for your fight for freedom. And so our commitment is to be there for you until the fight is done.
You know what I love about this picture of Nancy and Zelensky is that it looks like he's getting his perfect attendance award for 3rd grade, and she's there to see him get the award. Doesn't it kind of look like that?
Well, and that also explains the really horrible sound quality, because she's in his cocainatorium. that may be slightly uncommon in the United States, but but if you're in Ukraine and in the she does look kind of like she might have had a snort or two, and he's certainly, I mean, check out that nose. I mean, he could back you up. Boy, he could. Wow.
He's been wearing that sweatshirt for a long time, though.
Yes, he looks like he smells like hamburger grease in some sort of strange Eastern spices.
Smells like sweat socks and cheese.
Yes. Yeah. And he probably talks about 700 miles a minute because, cocaine. So, all right. Well,
so she wasn't alone in this little expedition too. She took only House Democrats with her. She took Meeks of New York, Schiff from California, McGovern from Massachusetts,
Little Adam Schiff.
Pencil neck, yeah. Keating from Massachusetts, Barbara Lee from California, Jason Crow of Colorado.
And Jason Crow sounds like that should be such a cool name, but he's such a tool.
You know why it sounds cool is because it reminds you of Jason Lee, who was in The Crow. I'm not kidding.
Well, no, I'm just saying that
there's no punchline to that.
Yeah. So let's continue on now. The question comes, and you do have an error in the next lead up, so I'm not going to let you make the error that you have written in there.
I have this visual too here.
Well, all right, hang on. Are you bringing up the visual?
Yeah, it's up there on the screen right now.
Well, my right now is not your right now. Plus, you would see.
It's the exact screen that I'm sharing with you.
I see that. I see that now. Yes, 10% for the big guy.
Yeah.
All right. So noting here, the question that I've had is, who wants to keep killing all these Ukrainians? The answer is Zelensky and the Democrats. And so it
seems to me that our government is not trying to tamp this down at all.
Not at all.
I just heard, I don't remember who it was, but it was a cabinet level official saying something about the Russians' latest efforts in the Donbass was something like weak and pathetic. And I'm like, what are you doing?
They're taunting Happy Fun Ball, which is, again, if you're trying to make things calm, you go, we understand what the Russians are looking for, and we want both sides to come together. But yet there's only one person saying that, and it will
surprise you who that person is. And it will surprise you even more the person who's saying it about that person.
Yes. And so
I'm confused
Noam Chomsky who did not write that book that you have written down.
He didn't? Who wrote
No,
that?
Saul Alinsky wrote Rules for
Oh, right.
Radicals.
Wrong.
Yep, no,
Yeah.
yeah,
Their
Noam
names sound
Chomsky.
very similar. I
Noam
hope
Chomsky.
that Saul Alinsky looks better than Noam Chomsky did. He's the guy on top there. He kind of looks like a Nerf ball that's been left out in the rain too long. And actually, I didn't even know he was alive. I'm literally like Elon Musk to Bernie Sanders. I forgot you were alive.
Yes, he does look like a chew toy that a dog has. Yeah. Well, anyway, or Jack Link's jerky. So I don't think that Noam Chomsky and I agree on a lot of things. But why don't you play this cut talking about the one person who's looking for peace in the Ukraine?
And I will say, I took out about a minute out of the middle of this, and you'll thank me when you hear how slowly he speaks. This is a long clip. Bear with me. It does have a punchline. Here he is.
Well, there is fortunately one statesman in the United States and Europe who has laid out, a person of a high political figure who has made a very sensible statement about how you can solve the crisis, namely by facilitating negotiations instead of undermining them, and moving towards establishing some kind of accommodation in Europe. But he suggested something similar. Move towards negotiations and diplomacy instead of escalating the war. Try to see if you can bring about an accommodation, which would be roughly along these lines. His name is Donald J. Trump.
Noam Chomsky, Donald J. Trump. Unlikely, John. A Donald J. Trump fan.
Is it just me, or did it suddenly just get kind of chilly in here? Like perhaps the temperature in hell suddenly plummeted.
Maybe below 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes, exactly.
So the next question, of course, as we look at Ukraine as being the money pit that it is you had the question of how much money we've spent so far in Ukraine. Did you find an answer?
I have not really been able to find an answer on that. And that is just, it's stunning. I mean, I found one thing that said we've spent $6 billion, but then an article dated 2 weeks previous to that said it was $14 billion. Yeah.
So,
and that's just for 2022. And then we had this $33 billion that's kind of on the table right now, but they're going to pass it.
Yes. And so the question, the question, of course, that I've got is, why can't we spend a few more trillion for us? Oh wait, Bill Maher.
Yeah, we can totally do that.
Again, when is what sort of weird planet is it where Bill Maher and Noam Chomsky are talking sense? Why don't you take us to Bill Maher?
Yeah, well, Bill Maher is all over all of the money that we've spent all over COVID, and I'll let him talk about that.
Yep.
Let's start with what we spent. The checks the government sent out to get America through the pandemic. There was the Families First Coronavirus Response Act for $192 billion, the Payment Protection Program for $484 billion, the Consolidated Appropriations Act for $900 billion, the American Rescue Plan for $1.9 trillion, and the CARES Act for $2.2 trillion. Although for how much of that money actually made it into employees' pockets, they should have called it the Who Cares Act. All told, $5.7 trillion laid out.
$5.7 trillion.
Yes, and that's money that, and if you look at the amount of money lost from the economy and the amount of money that Jeff Bezos added back to his wealth, actually, that's a joke. But I mean, that money is just, boy, it's been siphoned. It's like the mob is running the place. I did get enough from the docent. Mm-hmm. He has some emergency repairs to make, so at his house. So. And having been there and done that, that's none of that's ever fun. So, so anyway, Mark is doing well, but I'm sure he'd rather be here.
talking about this $5.7 trillion.
Mhm.
So, and the problem with this money is, and this concerns me about Ukraine too, because this is just COVID we're talking about. We're not talking about any of the money we've spent in Ukraine so far. We're not talking about the disastrous amounts of money elsewhere that we're spending at home, just the normal stuff that we take care of, right? We're not even talking about all that money that we spent over the past 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, which again, up in the trillions and trillions of dollars. And Bill Maher, again, bless his little pointy
Let's
head.
start with what...
Wait, wrong thing. I wanted this first. Now, Bill, you can go. Go, Bill, go.
In Arizona, scammers got nearly 30% of the benefits. And that's Arizona, where the most fiscally conservative, penny-pinching Republicans used to live. Republicans, at least used to pretend to be the mean old man who watched your money. But now, nobody from either party even pretends to. Defunding the police, yes, that's a bad idea. But so is depolicing the funds.
Now, it took me a little while to figure out what he was saying there, defunding the police and depolicing the funds. Nobody's watching where this money's going. Nobody knows where it's going.
Yes, no one knows, and the fact is, it's hitting the economy now, and this is the one thing that economists did get right is, where does money get its value? When you print more money? From the money in existence. So it cheapens the money out there in existence. And when you change the places and sources of money, it distorts the entire system. We are headed for an economic catastrophe. So anyway, but there's more. Yeah. There's more Bill Maher.
You know, I know when the numbers get up into the billions and trillions, our eyes glaze over and it doesn't seem real. So by way of analogy, let's return to our friend in aisle 3 at the Walgreens. Okay, the Walgreens, that's the United States government. And aisle 3, that's the $5.7 trillion in COVID relief. And this guy's shoveling it into a bag and walking out. That's all the boondogglers and con men in America who fleeced the system. And this security guard who's just watching it, that's your congressman.
And he makes a good point.
Well, it's not only your congressman, it's the media. I mean, this used to be the job of the media, is to go and find corruption, root it out, and make people upset. And the scale of the heist is so vast and so large, it's inconceivable by almost any person alive in America. When you look at $10 trillion, no one can conceive of that money. Joe Biden, I guarantee you, cannot even conceive of what the $33 billion or $44 billion he asked for Ukraine. I mean, how many billions of dollars worth of equipment did he leave in Afghanistan? He can't conceive it. I mean, even when he was smart and before the dementia set in, he couldn't conceive it. So that's the problem with the economy when you try and centrally manage it, is you have people who can't tie their shoes, do math, or remember what flavor of cream of wheat they had for breakfast, making decisions that impact literally everybody in the country except for those at the very top.
And it doesn't help when the members of our media are so close to the people that they are supposed to be digging up dirt on our administration. I mean, they're certainly adversarial with Trump, but when Democrats get in there, they seem to forget that. I mean, the whole White House Correspondents' Dinner, that's case in point as to what's wrong with our national media. They're sitting up there, eating their big fancy steaks and drinking their expensive bourbon and their expensive champagne, while the rest of us are trying to figure out a way to make ends meet at the end of the month.
And Codex nails it with this analogy.
Mm-hmm.
The media is the one standing outside yelling about the free ice cream on the other side of the store and shivving anyone who gets too close to the loading dock.
Yep.
That's just
exactly
genius.
It.
It's perfectly said. But you know what we need? If they can't control the economy by shoving money and picking winners and losers, certainly they ought to be controlling the flow of information. So we have Nina Jankowicz, who, all right, so when I first heard of Nina Jankowicz, I looked at you and what is it I said?
I don't remember. I've slept since
I
then.
said, is this a?
Oh, right. I said, is this a man or a woman?
Is this a dude?
Is that a dude?
And you looked and you went.
No, the first thing I said was, no, that's a girl. Features are too fine.
Yes, the features were too fine.
But then I saw a picture of her head on, and I was like, I don't know.
And then you heard her voice, and you said,
yeah.
"Nah."
Yeah, I heard her voice. I said, "No, it's a girl." Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what?
But her name, her nom de plume certainly could be Carolyn Manjaw. So.
Oh yeah, she could have done the Mac Tonight commercials. So Nina Jankowicz. There you go. Let's see which picture that is.
Yeah. See, the picture on the left is not too bad. The picture on the right, when she turns her head like that, it really accentuates the jaw.
Mm-hmm.
She has a huge chin.
Yes.
But a lovely singing voice.
Well, do you have a singing voice for us?
I do. And if you don't know who this is the person who is heading up the brand new Biden administration Ministry of Truth. And I don't remember what the actual name is, but it might as well be the Ministry of Truth because that's
okay. So what this is it is a blatantly partisan shill who denied, falsely claimed. That's one of their words. I'm taking it back.
Without evidence.
Yes, falsely claimed that Hunter Biden's laptop was a Russian plant. We know because it has now been authenticated by multiple news sources and other viable places. Hunter Biden's laptop is 100% true. So she falsely claimed that it was a Russian plant. Beyond that, let's go a little bit further. She is going to be working not in a White House policy position. She is going to be working in law enforcement at the Department of Justice. Okay.
I thought it was Homeland Security. Is that under the day?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Homeland Security. Yes, I'm sorry. It is Homeland Security. You are absolutely correct. Now, Codex does note that since she is going to be working in a law enforcement position, I hope she testifies at my trial by saying all the charges I plan to rack up.
Perhaps she could sing them to you.
Yeah.
Are you ready for it?
I will.
All right, here we go.
Information laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious.
I told you she has a nice voice.
It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. When Rudy Giuliani shared bad intel from Ukraine, or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain, they're laundering disinfo and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice, or vote. Oh!
That's a real thing.
Yes, and this is someone that we're supposed to take seriously.
Right.
Well,
here's the funny thing about this, right? Apparently, Mayorkas, the Homeland Security guy, had no idea this was out there. This is how closely they vetted this person. No idea that existed.
Yes. Well, again, this is a political operative put into a law enforcement position for the punishment of political foes.
Yeah,
this is. Yes, indeed. Oh.
And again, so we have this new Ministry of Truth, right? To ferret out that everything you say is absolutely true and, let's face it, in line with what you're supposed to be thinking and saying. This bothers no one nearly as much, at least not on the left, as this whole abortion thing is. Because again, all rights come to us from Roe v. Wade.
Absolutely. And
that's what bothers me about all of this.
But and so this is all of this. When you look at this week, I talked about Wilder's principle of greatest amusement.
And God
are you not
so
amused?
Yeah.
Are you not amused? Is this not the most amusing set of outcomes that you could have? I mean, who could have asked for a week that would be more amusing than this week? Quizzer notes, I can't imagine how Clown World would be more entertaining, but I'm sure we'll find out tomorrow. Again, it's Wilder's principle of greatest amusement. And, this all started in 2016 with Trump. I think the idea that the world should be more and more amusing week by week was somehow memed into existence by those folks over at the Jackie Chan website. So who can say? Who can say?
No, you know what? It just made the Democrats take off the mask.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
They stopped pretending.
When you look at taking, I'm gonna, if you've got a second, I want to bring up Amanda Duarte.
Okay. Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so
you've been enjoying her tweets.
Yes. So Amanda Duarte is a fascinating person. You got to really look up her background. She is anyway, she had the most amazing tweet, and come on.
It's almost like you should prepare for the show or something.
Well, I didn't know that we'd be going
instead of going upstairs and taking a nap directly prior to the show.
Well, it was a good nap. Does that help? All right.
Are you finding it?
I'm sure it'll be over here on the bright part. So hang on. So her tweet was, I do wonder, this is something she actually wrote, how these white supremacist lawmakers would feel if their little white daughters were raped and impregnated by black men. Yes, indeed. She tweeted that. The left tells you exactly what they think.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Oh, there's more too. But I won't get into it. Let's just put it this way. If you look at some of the masks that have dropped just due to abortion, it is astonishing the amount of hate that is out there. And, it certainly, though, someone as sober and wonderful as Elizabeth Warren would be calm, as a former presidential candidate.
And another
I'm sure,
lawyer.
And another lawyer.
Someone who taught at Harvard.
And he gets, actually, I believe she still gets $200,000 a year or more just to teach that 1 3-hour class. So
yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, oh, wait, we haven't gone through the brain jackass of the week.
We have not, because Kamala needs to call her and give her a thank you for, once again, it's not Kamala, because this week.
This is Neil Young.
Hey, get that jackass out of here!
And I'm proud to present my brain jackass of the week.
And this week it does indeed go to the senator hectoring schoolmarm Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts on the steps of the Supreme Court yesterday, spraying spittle all over the steps that SCOTUS had the audacity to actually rule on the Constitution. Here she is.
This is what the Republicans have been working toward this day for decades. They have been out there plotting, carefully cultivating these Supreme Court justices so they could have a majority on the bench who would accomplish something that the majority of Americans do not want. 69% of people across this country, red states and blue states, old people and young people, want Roe versus Wade to maintain as the law of the land. We need to do that. And we have a right. Extremists, we've heard enough from the extremists. And we're tired.
Did you hear the guy in the background there? You're dismembering children in the womb, ma'am. Good on him.
And
it's not as though. Do Democrats really think the people that they put up for the Supreme Court are avowed centrists? Is that what they really think?
I don't know, but we do know that at least one of their clerks wasn't. And in fact, I have breaking news here. The FBI has found the person who leaked the draft rule.
Okay.
Okay, the draft ruling, and that's a Supreme Court clerk, Samuel Heidberg.
I knew you were going to do that. See, and does anyone else here get what that reference is to? Maybe not. Probably not. Because it's comedian Sam Hyde. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so whenever there's a mass shooting, Sam Hyde is the one that's brought up.
Whenever there's anything that happens, it's Sam Hyde. Yeah.
Sam Hyde did it. So
some version of his name and him in some sort of costume garb.
Yeah, he in fact, I believe at the original Parkland shooting, he showed up as the on CNN, a picture of him as the shooter. So
yeah, they got CNN pretty good with that one.
Yeah.
All
right,
we got to close. And this has been Neil Young's Brain Jackass of the Week. And again, Kamala, thank you, Senator Warren. I think it's been has it been 2 weeks in a row now that Kamala hasn't won?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I can't wait for next week. I can't wait for next week.
It's a record. It's a record.
Oh, hey, I heard another thing. This is actual news that I had heard.
I thought they had a bit.
No, I don't have a bit. I just had the one bit. No, okay. This actually legit stuff. That the CDC, this according to the New York Post, CDC bought cell phone data to track vaccination and lockdown compliance. So they bought the metadata.
Not creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, to track people to see, if they were wandering around when they should have been, going to church, out at past curfew, visiting neighbors, and they paid $420,000 of our tax money for this.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sounds like a bargain because at least they know what they spent it on and they know who they gave it to. It's like the first time in history.
Right.
Well,
but they're using this to track citizens, right? In the meanwhile, Dinesh D'Souza, sorry, I completely screwed up his name. Dinesh D'Souza had a film that just came out this week, 2,000 Mules, and they used similar stuff, cell phone tracking data, to back up some of their claims in that movie that I'm not going to talk about because it's about the lawn mowing contest from a couple years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And, but of course, that doesn't mean anything. And yet the CDC is using this information, get where you're supposed to be, citizen.
So I think it's time to do some quick takes.
Okay.
Just kind of a quick review on the news. First, this is from the Insider. Women on TikTok say hookup culture will be absolutely decimated if Roe versus Wade is overturned. And once again, I say, your terms are acceptable. Good. It's having, yeah. So, let's see. And
please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
And there's going to be, Mother's Day strike. We will not go back. So there's going to be a strike on the week of Mother's Day, which, again, mothers staying home with children. Crazy idea. And Dave Chappelle.
Attacked on stage, yes.
Attacked on stage, yes. And so,
but apparently Mr. Chappelle's security did not take kindly to that. They had to take that poor guy out on a stretcher, broken jaw, multiple facial lacerations, and one arm that now bends in an entirely new direction.
Good for him. Oh, a crazy thing. To show how what an advantage it is to be white. More than a third of white students lied about their race on college applications, and about half of these applicants lied about being Native American. More than 3/4 of those students who lied were accepted.
That's kind of old news, man. I did have a thing that I was gonna play, because we had so many other sound clips, and it's an old sound clip too. Let me see if I can pull it up here, and you can tell me if you can hear it or not. Go ahead and talk for a little bit, and I'll see if I can find it.
Okay, there have been a string of food plant fires, fueling conspiracy theories around the country. So, and these are large food plant fires, again, all across the country. There's an entire list. Look it up. You got Google. So there you have it.
Okay. All right. Tell me, let me know if you can hear this, because I'm not playing it from the place I normally play it. Can you hear this?
Yes.
All right, what you're hearing is a gigantic man in a Chewbacca costume being arrested by Ukrainian police because this was from about 6 years ago that this happened, so 2015. He was out campaigning illegally for, would you like to know who he's campaigning for? Darth Vader, yes, in the Ukrainian elections. And he's a huge guy, and these little tiny Ukrainian cops, there's about 5 of them trying to wrestle him to the ground. Look up Ukrainian Chewbacca arrest on YouTube. It's definitely worth a while.
Okay. And I will note, I really think that all of these things, like the abortion ruling coming out, is actually all a psyop and a distraction, a false flag to distract us from the real story, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
Yeah, you know Noam Chomsky, his audio clip we played a little while ago, reminds me a lot of Johnny Depp testifying in that trial. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
we've gone around the bend here, people. You can't even do parrot anymore because the world is just so weird.
All right, and fatbergs are a thing. Yes, fatbergs are a thing. And
I'm sorry, are you saying fat birds? Like tweet?
No, fatbergs, as in large quantities of fat in London's.
Oh, like an iceberg of fat. Okay, I got
Yes, yes, and then there's hiccup culture. Okay, all right. Again, it is the theory of greatest amusement, and here, and on Star Wars Day, May 4th, 2022. That's the way it was. From Bombs and Bants Central Headquarters.
Shuck it, duck it now.
Walter Wilder.
Gotta have a little Herman Cain in there.
All right. Once again, next week I do anticipate having our co-host Mark back. But for now, it's me saying have a wonderful evening, day, or whenever you're listening to this. This is Classic Humor. It's all free. The missus?
That's me.
We'll say some words.
We're all done.
Oh,
we're out.
Yes.
Bang.
Okay, so I have to say more words. Oh, okay.
Never get it right, do you?
I never will.
But y'all come back now, you hear?